Hi guys, I'm going to read you chapter 6 and 7. I land with a massive splash in a puddle. There's a disco display of torch beams go on and over my head, but the wardens can't get down. "Come on," says one of them, and then I hear their boots running overhead as their lights move away. I'm in total darkness with hundreds of cockroaches clicking and scratching around me. I start crawling after them. I wish I was brave, like a soldier walking through a minefield. Then maybe crawling through this tunnel full of muddy water, cockroach slime and something that smells really bad would be easier. I say crawling, but actually it's more like swimming. The water is so deep. I didn't even know cockroaches could swim, and here they are paddling alongside me. They don't speak, not even to one another, or stop to rest, just keep on pushing forward. The warden's thumping feet have totally faded away now, and all I can hear is my own breath echoing off the wet walls and the occasional criss-crass from a roach. This tunnel isn't a smooth pipe. It's jagged and uneven, and I keep cutting my hands on the rocks. It might be my imagination, but the further we go, the deeper the water seems to be getting. As the water rises, I can feel the floor of rocks fall away from my feet, and I start to bump and scratch my head as the roof of the tunnel gets closer and closer. I'm working hard just to stay afloat. Slowly and steadily, more and more water, tasting of soil and dishwater, starts to splash into my mouth as my arms grow tired. "Slow down," I call out into the blackness. "I can't keep up." There's no reply, just quiet splashing. Then, very faintly, some distance up ahead, I hear a deep voice like the beat of a drum. "We must keep going, there is no time to lose." But the ceiling of the tunnel has dropped down right in front of me. Tracing the outline of rock with my hands, I try to search for the narrow layer of air between it and the water they expect me to swim through. Except there isn't one. The tunnel from here is completely underwater. I take the deepest breath I've ever taken and, holding my nose, plunge under the surface. I struggle to squeeze through the gap, my legs kick, and I feel the weed-covered walls of the tunnel draw closer and closer in. Water goes up my nose, burning, the last drops of oxygen leaking out of my lungs. My chest wants to explode. Panicking, I think I should go back, but it's too late. I give one last feeble kick with my legs. The tunnel of water breaks into a torrent, turning and tumbling me like I'm in a washing machine, before finally spitting me out, bouncing and scraping against the edges of a filthy pipe, down some slippery rocks and onto a wet patch of grass. I can see stars. I mean, not cartoon stars around my head, but actual stars in the sky. My chest heaving, I fight to catch my breath, turn onto my belly and cough up some water. As I rise myself onto my elbows, a light shines straight in my eyes, and beneath that I can just make out a pair of feet, a grimy pair of feet in sandals. Dr. Frederick stands in front of a line of wardens. Behind them, the curved glass of the hall lit up with the searchlights. We're outside, in the quarantine zone, but no one's wearing a suit or a mask. There's no aircon, no special glass roof, no electric doors sealing us in. We're just out here, in the wet and the wild, where the red eye rules. I turn around to see what lies behind, although I already know. A small patch of grass slopes down towards the edge of the cliff, beyond which is nothing but rocks, sea, and big, big trouble. His glass is speckled with rain. Dr. Fredericks takes a step towards me, holding a syringe in his hand. "One little prick," he shouts, to be heard above the gale blowing around our heads. "One little prick and we'll put this unfortunate episode behind us." This is it, I say to myself. There's only one way out, and it looks a very long way down. The General trots up my arm out of nowhere and into my anorak pocket. "You think we haven't planned this down to the last detail?" he barks in my ear. "No time to explain. Just jump whenever you're ready." Dr. Fredericks takes another step towards me. I take a step back, towards the edge of the cliff, carefully balancing with my arms outstretched. "Careful there, young man. We don't want an unfortunate accident, do we?" I look up at Spectrum Hall, the lights crisscrossing through the tinted upside-down glass boat. A breeze of wet spray flicks on the back of my neck from the sea below. "Whenever you're ready," says the General. "You have to trust us." I close my eyes and take one step back, then two steps. "Kester," says the doctor. "Look, I'll even put this down. Let's talk. I'll explain everything." He places a syringe on the ground between us. "Please?" I smile. I got the doctor to say please. It was worth it for that, if nothing else. I took a last step back, and as he lunges for my legs, crying out, I fall back into thin air. But I don't fall onto the rocks and sea. Hooks in the air catch me, moving, flying hooks, the beaks and claws of 100 pigeons. The one from my room, grey, and one white. They really hurt, grabbing not just at my clothes, my soaking wet anorak and scarf, but my hair, the skin on my hands, even my ears. At first we sink down, the pigeons straining with my weight, the icy spray of the waves flicking at my ankles, but then slowly, surely, they begin to flap up into the sky, pulling us further and further away from the rocks, the sea, and Spectrum Hall. Wind and rain whip around us, lashing at my face. Weather. Seeing out of my window was one thing. Feeling and tasting it was very different. I tried to twist away, but it's coming from all sides. Impossible to avoid. There's a scrabbling inside my pocket and the General sticks his head out. "Look," he says proudly. I glance back at the cliff top and see the other cockroaches swarming over Dr. Fredericks and the wardens, pouring out off the ground and up their trousers, making them jump and wiggle and yell, but I don't see any more as the pigeons wheel sharply round and begin to fly north from the hall. "Hey," I shout up, "that's not the way home." The birds don't say anything, but just flap their wings even harder. "I thought you were taking me home." There's no reply, not even a squeak from the white pigeon. I twist my head to see the lights of Spectrum Hall dwindling to a faint glow on the horizon behind us, but we're going further north, not south. We're flying away from Premium. I jerk my arms, trying to turn the birds around. "You said you were getting me out of this place. I want you to take me home right now." "Take my advice, soldier," says the General firmly from my pocket. "Stop struggling and get some sleep while you can. We have a very long journey ahead." Despite myself, I feel my eyes grow heavy and part of me wants to sleep, but I don't dare. Every time I start to drift off, a gust of freezing wind stings me awake. And besides, there's so much to see, looking down between my feet. We're flying right over the countryside, over places I've never seen before, places no one is allowed in, the quarantine zone, miles and miles of deserted open country shut down by facto to contain the red eye and stop it spreading to the cities, 9 years ago now. At Spectrum Hall, there were rumours of outsiders, people who didn't believe the warnings, people who took their own chances with the red eye and tried to forage what food was left behind after the animals went. But if such people exist, there is no sign of them from up here. Everything is so dark. No lights from houses, villages or towns, just the faint outlines of empty buildings here and there in the moonlight, like scattered boulders. Miles and miles of rocky shores and cliff tops, their jagged edges only just visible. Directly beneath us, the only signs of life are buoys tossing about on the dark waves below, their orange lights blinking. Once, far off in the distance, we see the white glow of the city, Factorium run, disease and animal-free, beaming rays of light into the night from their glass skyscrapers. From here, the towers look like glowing white crystals reaching up into the stars. 4 great cities built to contain the world's refugees. Our home, Premium, the city of the south and the largest, divided in half by the River Amms. A coastal city of the west, Portus, and the industrial city of the east, Carbo. This must be the city of the north, the city built among cold peaks and steep valleys, Mons. The 4 cities that grew and spread until, on the satellite maps, all that was left of the countryside was just a narrow strip of green enclosed by big blotches of thermal reds and yellows. I try and swing my legs towards the distant city glow to see if I can steer the birds, but it only seems to make them fly faster and harder in the opposite direction. Further and further we fly till it feels like we'll never touch solid land again, as we head straight into a cloud. Like someone turned out the lights, I can't see a thing anymore. Droplets and dust clog my eyes and nose, making it hard to breathe, and my clothes, which had begun to dry out after the tunnel, are instantly drenched again. Looking up, even the birds are hard to see through the fog. On and on the cloud goes, leaving me gasping for air, the dust choking and filling my throat as everything grows thicker and greyer, and then black. I snap my eyes open, shuddering and staring wildly around. I have no idea where we are or how long we've been flying for. I must have been asleep. Any clouds are long behind us. There's a pink light on the horizon which woke me up, filling and warming the sky, showing the masses of green weed that cover the cliff tops below. The sea beneath us sounds louder in the light somehow, roaring and crashing against the rocks. It feels like we're in a different land altogether, but I don't think we are. We're just right at the end of the country, right on the end of the quarantine zone, on the tip of the island, surrounded by the world's ocean, the huge sea that now covers most of the planet. Finally, we begin to turn back towards this deserted land, dropping lower in the sky as we do. The air rushes faster and faster past my face. Now we're flying over moors, over an old house with half its roof missing, a bridge with chunks blown clean out of it, like bites. I grab a glimpse of more ruined buildings with no back wall, yellow flowers sprouting out of the empty window. The countryside, deserted and no longer open to humans, and I'm heading straight for it.